Shalom, la b'chayarim shal yashala. Peace to the election of the nation of Israel. Wa kahalayim la ala hayinawa Yahweh b'Hashem Yahushai b'Hashem Chakodash. All praises to our power, Yahweh b'Hashem Yahushai. Yahweh being the true, almighty, and powerful name of the Heavenly Father, who the world ignorantly calls God, and His only begotten Son's names is Yahushai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Hashem, meaning in the name, Recha, meaning spirit, Kodash is holy, which I utter in the Paleo Hebrew, which is the language that has been returned unto the Hebrew Israelites, which consists of the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And of course, since our seed has been scattered abroad across the four corners of the earth, some of my people may look like the heathen, but their lineage go back to a Hebrew Israelite by the way of their fathers. Okay. That will, of course, be determined through the Spirit, okay? In which you have to understand this isn't a thing about color of skin. It's about nationality. Right? Of course, I want to give double honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone who rule well. And, of course, Shalom Lachasad to the election. All right? Peace and mercy to the election, the chosen that are allotted salvation through predestination by the Lord Yahweh and His Son's Son, which is Yahushai, which Yahweh's Son Yahushai will deliver the elect of these coming perils which shall befall the earth, which shall be the end of many, in which it's written in the scriptures that famines will come. So I'm just going to do a wee lesson through the Spirit, the Chakodash, about this here, which you can see. It says Unrelenting rain. And Slakim, Shemya Mafpa. My name is Mafpa from the Great Millstone Plain Tables. Can't locate it here in the city of Philadelphia, PA, in Babylon, which is America. So it says unrelenting rain puts U.S. farmers on insurance deadline watch. It says Bloomsburg, Kansas farmer Mark Nelson has until Saturday to plant his corn or lose the insurance that protect him from a drop in prices or yield. Instead, he's hoping on a plane to visit his father in Chicago, in which it's a terrible thing because most of the farmers, they have to use either conventional seed, hybrids, and genetically modified or GM seeds that have been altered using genetics. And you have, of course, organic seed too, but you have it due to the spreading of chemtrails and, of course, contamination. You have it that our food supply is tainted, and our farmers, the ones whom are to serve the world, they're of course the field, Hashadah, the field, they of course have trouble. And this is all goes back to the Genesis or Bara'ash Yath of Cain, which this same spirit within Cain is in the so-called white man, which I will start at this precept here, Paquad, or this precept. It's this scripture here. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 4 and 12. And it reads here, it's back, actually I'm going to start at verse 11. And no art thou cursed from the earth, which hath opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand, which Cain slew Abel, which Cain in his Hebrew or Shemwa, or his Hebrew name, which is here Kwayan, which I believe it means something of a sharp, all right, like as in a sense of a sharp weapon, all right. There isn't going to say it here, but you have to, of course, go into his nomen omen, all right, which is our apostles shalayach yim nawa, all right, our apostles speak of about this. So going on, it says here that verse 12, when thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth. So the same spirit within Cain is in Esau, Edom, which today is a so-called white man. You have it where when they tillest the earth, which is obviously when they do the husbandry, all right, work, serve by labor. Of course, isn't it gonna be going to its full strength, okay? In which we say here it says yield, which they have nathun, which is give, and you got cha, or cha, or a ka and a cha, which it says unto her strength, which you have here for basically strength, power, might. Not sure if it's near to the word chazak, but basically it goes into its substance, okay, wealth, capacity, means, produce. So the earth isn't it going to even reach its full capacity and its ability to bring forth fruit, and especially since the fruit is genetically modified and tainted, and these farmers, they are in debt to these bankers, which these elite bankers are Edomites, and they rule over these farmers because of the massive supply, okay, of food, the demand for food, even though there's much waste due to greed. You have it where these farmers are given these quotas to fulfill, to sustain countries, the need for food in these various countries. But you have it where they are now, of course, the new, or Aitha, now experiencing catastrophic weather, which the Lord is bringing forth, and it is hurting, obviously, not only the farmers, but also it will hurt the economy and also the people, because this is going to lead towards famine. Now, going into the further in this article, it says now Nelson is considering a different type of insurance coverage known as preventative plant claims, which pay out farmers when they're unable to sow crops at all, and that's what has been happening. You have it in these Midwest states, which have been hit with these tornadoes and rain, devastating torrential downfalls and such. Which it says with unceasing rain, keeping farmers out of fields, growers are increasingly weighing how best to get paid and ease the impact from the bad weather and escalating U.S.-China trade war. And the new, right now, they of course have that trade war, which I believe they have this Donald Trump pushing up the taxes on Chinese goods to about 25%, which ultimately that affects the U.S. businesses and the consumer, because it's not the actual exporter that pays the tax. It's the importer, the U.S. importer, that has to pay the actual customs, okay? And then they have these goods, they must sell it. And in order, of course, for them to get profit, they have to, of course, raise the prices on their goods. So then that, of course, leads to what? Inflation. And people, of course, not buying these goods. And you have it, things are sitting there. And you have it where a lot of these businesses are going out of business. But going on, it says you hate to farm for insurance, but in a year like this, you keep that in the back of your mind. It says Nelson, whose farm is near the east central town of Pasola, said Buffoon, storms across the Midwest and the Great Plains resulted in the wettest 12-month stench on record in the U.S., with Deluge closing refineries and snaring Mississippi River traffic. Crucially for agriculture markets, is also hampering crop planting. Worries over tighter supplies due to soggy weather drove Chicago corn futures to surge as much as 3.9% on Friday, topping a $4 a bushel and rising the highest level in almost a year. The wet weather is showing no signs of easing. The insurance deadline for sowing has already passed for some farmers in southern Missouri. So you have it where these actual farmers kind of even get these insurance. They get paid because obviously you get insurance when damage is done. And you have it, your crops are destroyed by, of course, the Lord bringing forth these storms, which is ultimately a judgment unto the wicked, to this place Babylon, which is America. And the farmers kind of get paid, all right, with these obviously, in order and being unable to obviously sell goods because nothing is getting produced, okay? And I may get another scripture, maybe Isaiah the chapter 29 or 28. I gotta find it. Book Isaiah or Yeshaya, my salvation in the Hebrew. Let me see. I'm gonna try chapter 28. See what it is too. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 28 and 2. It says, "Behold, the Lord hath a mighty and strong one, which as a tempest of hail and a destroying storm, as a flood of mighty waters overflowing, shall cast down to the earth with the hand." And the Lord is definitely bringing down storm, tempest to this place. The Lord is making himself known and visiting the earth via these storms and tempests. Okay, which a tempest is a storm anyway. Alright, let's see if I got another read per quad or might quad per quad. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 29 and 6, which reads, "Thou shalt be visited of Yahweh of Tazabawath." Alright, the Lord of hosts, the Lord of armies, with thunder. Alright, which is, I believe, in Hebrew, thunder is Barak, right? Let's see. Thunder, they got Ra'im, Slakia. And lightning is actually, that's Slakia. Lightning is, I believe, is the word for Barak, if I'm not mistaken. It says, with earthquake and great noise, with storm and tempest, and the flame of devouring fire. Alright, so the Lord is visiting this place with not only the earthquakes, but these storms and these tempests. So this is a working of the Lord, of Yahweh, that's his name in Hebrew, which means he exists. Going further, In the article, it says further complaining matters is President Donald Trump's announcement on Thursday that farmers could apply for a slice of the $16 billion aid package to mitigate the impact of the U.S.-China trade war. However, in order to qualify, farmers must plant crops. So who are you going to qualify if you can't, of course, plant the crops? You can't. What are you going to suck up all the water? You know, so soak it up. So this is not much confusion. Okay. It says here, then payments will depend on production in their country or county. That is county. It says the Senate also passed a 19.1 billion natural disaster natural disaster relief package that includes 3 billion related to loss of crops in recent hurricanes, flooding, and for seeds preventing from planting this year. A Republican House member temporarily blocked a fast-track package, meaning lawmakers will probably vote on when they return in early June from a week-long recess. That's all these politicians do, is take breaks and recesses and such, especially when things need to be done. It says unending Midwest rains adds to the wettest 12 months ever in the U.S. as U.S. farm aid may create distortions. Let's go into this word for distortions, which in definition, Karawa, it read, the action distorting a state of being. It has a action of misleading account impression. Right. It was supposed to avoid, U.S. seeks to avoid planting distortion with the new farm aid. To subscribe to daily grain updates, click grain, or it says GRNSOUPD. Then on the descriptions button at the top of the story, so slack it. It says farmers unable to plant have been estimated which government-backed program might pay the most. Nelson only has 400 acres of corn planted and 1,700 more to go. He loses all insurance protection on corn if not planted by June the 14th. And if that happens, he's considering switching for some grown to soybeans, which is going to be GMO, which can be planted later without risking crop loss and early freeze. After the deadline, farmers can choose to switch to a second crop, but that will reduce the amount they receive from preventing plant claim on the first crop. They can only get it on the on that. Let me see that first crop. Maybe I have to go more into it. It says, I talked with my crop insurance agent to make sure I knew all the scenarios. Nelson said, until June 14, we've got the option to still plant and get some coverage. And it says here also that the U.S. Department of Agriculture in March estimated that corn planted acres at 92.8 million. Iowa corn and soybean farmers Kyle Winland has planted most of his crops, but was leaning towards making a prevented plant claim for his final 80 acres of corn due to the wet condition. The government aid payments will not be a big swing factor. I'm not going to mud my crop and just to get an unknown payment. I will take the known insurance payment and move on. And this is just pushing these people further into debt, basically. it costs money to pay for these seeds, and for the most part, most of these farmers, they're not actually profiting. They're just stuck in the game. All right. So let's go into some scriptures and bring some edification in it. I'm gonna bring it the book of Proverbs chapter 28 and 8. I'll bring it up on the screen. I'm gonna read it. The new. It says, "He that by usury and unjust gain increaseth his substance," which that's of course the so-called white man, the elite bankers. Of course, they're gonna increase their substance, the money. It says, "He gathered it for him that will pity the poor," because you have to understand that these goods, these riches, are actually going to be translated to profitable ones, which are the Israelites, the elect. Okay. This is going to be the book of Ecclesiasticus and Apocrypha, chapter 40 and 9. It says, "Death and bloodshed, strife and sword, calamities, famine, tribulations, and scourge. These things were created for the wicked, and for their sakes came the flood. All these things that are of the earth shall turn to the earth again, and that which is of the waters doth return into the sea," or yum in the Hebrew. Ha yum. Yum is sea in Hebrew. And so all bribery and injustice shall be blotted out, but true dealing shall endure forever. And this is a form of bribery when you think of it, where you have it, bribery, the giving an offering with a bribe, because they pretty much are doing corruption. They plant, you could get this insurance, plant seed to try to plant seed, but really you have it where, to be honest, these farmers are just in crippling debt. A lot of farmers are killing themselves at high rates of suicide within them. Okay. Let's go to the next precept. It goes on. It says, "All bribery and injustice shall be blotted out, but true dealing shall endure forever. The goods of the unjust shall be dried up like a river, and shall vanish with noise, like a great thunder and rain." And literally, you see these goods are drying up. They're getting flooded out. When obviously the flood waters, of course, go away. What is it? The actual goods are dried up. They're done. They're washed away. Right, withered into the earth in which it came. Let's go to the next scripture, which is the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter. Actually, I'm going to go to Habakkuk chapter 3 and 17. It says, "Although the fig tree shall not blossom, neither shall fruit be in the vines, the labor of the olive shall fail," right? "And the fields shall yield no meat." So you have it. The fields, they're going to yield any meat. All right, they're not going to produce anything. "The flock shall be cut off from the fold, and there shall be no herd in the stalls." And you can go into a lot of course, the cattle losses due to the rains. Okay, which I've covered in other lessons. This is the book of 2nd Esdras chapter 6 and 22. And reads, "And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty." You have it where, because the people are there going to have what? Any money. These farmers ain't going to have any money to actually sow seed. And of course, people are going to use what they have, and then that's of course going to run out. And this of course brings forth what? Famine. Okay? In which, if you don't have a hedge under Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Kodash, you don't have the Thawah, which is that mark of exemption, you're going to be caught, and you're going to be, you're going to die within this famine that's coming to, of course, America and abroad. So with that, I just wanted to do a quick Kawash lesson, a Madium, or lesson teaching on this. Hopefully you're edified. I will, of course, revisit this as always through the spirit of power Yahweh Shem Shai. Call Elohim La Yahweh Shem Shai, Bashem Kakodash, and double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone. Hopefully you're edified. Shalom to the elect. Shalom.